there. I just wanted her to stop talking and for her to stop making you feel like you're the problem or marriages have to be like this. And I was like, phew, because I thought for a minute you're siding with these people. Like, of course I wouldn't. And that was that. So my mom now waited for me. My best friend waited eagerly for the day that I texted her, I've left, honestly. And we didn't speak all through, like the 2 weeks we didn't speak until the day that I left that I texted her. So after my mom has told me that, I'm now calm. I've now gone back to the house. Bumpy has come back and is like, I'm sorry that this is what it had to get to. Let's figure it out. And I just look at it and I'm like, okay. I take my child, I go to bed. He didn't sleep on the bed that day. He slept on the sitting room. In the morning, I woke up and I was just like, let me ask why he slept here. And he's like, I feel like our matrimonial bed should be just for us when we are happy. Because we are not happy, we are not in good terms, there's no need. And I was like, oh, okay. My nanny came again. I received her well. She came. My daughter at this point has now started to recognize her. So she sees the nanny and she's all now bubbly and all. And that day again, still not going to work. So I'm still healing from my wounds. But the face wounds that I had have healed. Now my rib is now that's a bit painful. You can see I'm struggling to sit or stand up and the likes. So my nanny comes, she asks me what to make for the daughter, what I would want to eat. She serves me. She never served my hubby. So she would now ask me, Mama Nani, uta serve Baba Nani? I'm like, sure. I get up, serve, like that. So in this time, he received a phone call from a lady because he put it on speaker. And the conversation did not go as he expected to because he was trying to build a slate of transparency. But that lady sounded as though that there was like a hidden agenda they were talking about. So after the phone call, he was seated trying to explain to me why it sounded odd. And I was like, okay. Then he'd leave my phone. He'd always tell me to go through his phone. It became like almost daily. Just go through my phone. Don't assume I'm texting people, like things like that. So I never did when he said I should. So one day I went through his WhatsApp and I'm like, it's too clean. I think I was so used to him doing something. So it was too clean. And I was like, oh, maybe he has actually just learned his lesson. So I just started maybe getting into the idea of he's learned his lesson. We're still in week 1 of me saying, remember I said I want 2 weeks, then I'll leave. So this is week 1, it's about to end. My mom is calling. She's like, pass by, we just do a check-in. I told my mom, I went through his phone and it's too clean. My mom is like, maybe he's learning or something, but don't change your mind. And I'm like, Mom, me knowing him, let's just give him a few more days. Something will just come up, me knowing him. It's like, why are you so sure? I'm like, you just wait. Once it happens, I'll tell you. Week 1 has ended. Now we're in week 2 before it ends. So we're in, say, day 8, day 9. I take his phone. He's on the rooftop with my daughter. They're sunbasking. He calls out from the rooftop and is like, bring my phone. I'm like, okay. I hadn't checked his phone since that day. So it's been like about 3-4 days. I check his phone and I see this. Now WhatsApp business. I'm like, why would WhatsApp business be here? All the conversations with the women have left from WhatsApp to WhatsApp business. And of course, the girl that was in our household, the conversation is there. And other women. And you can see there are video calls that last like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And you can tell only on days that maybe I'm not in the house. And they're there, but they've been erased. Like, the call log is not been erased, but the conversations have. So I noticed the phone is also on airplane mode. So I turned it back on, connected it to Wi-Fi, and messages started coming in. He's like, hi, how's last night? How did you sleep? Like, now conversations. Like, these were people, they were talking last night. And now today. Now this is a new day. I've started again. And I was like, yes, I just knew. I just knew it would get there. I went up and I gave him the phone just as the screen is on for him to see that I've seen the conversation and the call logs. After a few minutes, he follows me down and he's starting to explain. And I just told him, Bumpy, this is just a cycle where this is what you do. So you do this, apologize, then do this. That's a cycle you have. That's the same cycle you've been having with your previous baby mama. That's not how it works. I just told him that. And I told him, people survive as being baby mamas and being single moms. It works. People are doing it and they're doing it perfectly. And he's like, oh, so now you want to be a single mom? I'm like, I'd rather that than one day you could. One day we've sat down with our parents. We have a plan. 2 days, 3 days later, you're now back to talking to the women. What's that? So you think because you're not talking to them on WhatsApp, talking to them on another, like WhatsApp business is any different? And he's like, no, these women just text. I'm like, really? Someone who has just highlighted a previous conversation that you have deleted are women who have just texted. And video calls. How about the video call of yesterday? And if you look at the timestamp, it's like, this time I was at my mom's place. So what is that trying to indicate? I just told him, Bumpy, at this point, I'm not dumb. I can see and I'm reading in between the lines. So just stop. He got mad because I'm not listening to his excuse. And I'm refusing to listen and to understand. My daughter was asleep as he held her. She just went, put my daughter to bed. And he came back and he's raising his voice. And I'm like, just put the child to sleep. Don't you think you'll wake her up? He lowers his voice. He took a mug and threw it to the ceiling because he was mad I was not listening to him. I told him, it's okay. This is what you always do. You break, punch, do something, hit me. So there's nothing new in your cycle. That's how used to it I was. So I just knew. Argue with him. He punched something, break something, hit me, apologize. That was my daily cycle with him. So on this time, I even wanted him to hit me so that I could live there and go write a P. It's called a P3 or P2. That's what I wanted. And he did hit me, and to a point where he scratched my thigh. I told my mom, let's go write a P3. It was a holiday. Went, we wrote the P3. My mom had to go with that letter, because if I went with it, of course, another war would have come. So she went with it. And my mom all along was just asking me, you are that sure of him? And I'm like, yes, I was that sure that something would come up, especially if it includes women. It definitely will. We went home, or rather I went home. My mom went back to her house. So he asked me, oh, you were gone so long, where were you? And I'm just like, no, I just went somewhere to get some air, and as I drink some milkshake, so I'm back. That's just all I needed. And he's like, oh yeah, okay. So since he still felt like I was not understanding him, or I didn't listen to his excuse as to why he was having conversations with women, he now wanted to bring it up again. And I'm like, I thought we already talked about this. And I just told him, we talked about it. You hit me about it. What more emphasis do you want? And then he just kept quiet. And he switched on the TV, and that conversation ended. And then this one specific time, I had 3 days left to my 2 weeks. My nanny came again just in the morning, her normal routine. Giving her my daughter, I've changed her, I've done what I should. I wanted to go to work. So I go to work and I come back. I come back and I realize that he's still in the house. He was supposed to go for some job interview and to do some online interviews as well. He's still in the house. I asked him about it. He's like, no, I didn't go. I didn't feel like it was worthwhile. And I'm like, you're not earning any money. I'm going to work. On top of going to work, I have to miss some days because you've hit me so bad. Why wouldn't you just decide to help? And then I went on and told him, with the other women, you're always buying them stuff. You're always going out for coffee. Where do you get that money? Because I don't see it in this house. In this house, you're always broke. And I'm always providing for everything. And he's like, oh, so what does that mean? I'm like, it means exactly that. It means your money, whenever you get your money, it goes to other women. And I knew for a fact there's one of the women he used to see that used to give him money. So I was asking him, and how come you given money by so-and-so and you never come back to this house? Where are you taking it? Or are you using that money to take another woman out for coffee and the likes? And he's like, you're so disrespectful. You have no respect for me as your husband. And I'm like, neither do you. You have no respect for me as a wife. You're disrespectful to me, disrespectful to the women you're talking to. Honestly, at this point, I don't even think you should address anything about respect. He kept quiet. I went to the bedroom. Now, late at night, we are now talking about it. I don't talk about it. I said what I said. He feels like he needs to talk about it. He raises his voice 1 minute. It goes higher and higher. 1 minute, he's about to hit me with a stool. The next minute, he's now strangling me. And I'm strangled in the position that I cannot fight. He sat on my feet, that I can't push him. And his hands are around my neck to a point where I saw white and knew I was going to pass out. I stopped fighting and just stayed still. And under my voice, I was just like, you know what? I hope my daughter is okay. And I hope she's going to be okay. I accepted that I was going to die. And I accepted that the man that I once loved is the one who was going to kill me. I was okay with that. I was okay not fighting. And he let go at a point where I felt death. Vizuri, like I felt death completely. I could describe it. I could taste it. Like that's how real it was. And he took that stool and as he was about to hit me after letting go from strangling me, he banged it on the floor. It woke up his mom. His mom came. She's trying to listen to us and I just told Mama Bumpy, I need to leave your son. I need to leave. And the mom could not understand because she's never heard me saying that in the power that I said it. I told my best friend what happened. I told my mom. And my mom is like, you're going to die. I'm going to lose you there. And I'm like, Mom, I have 3 days left, but I'm going to be coming earlier than I thought. And that happened to the weekend. That happened. Sunday came. Monday, I was always off on Mondays. I pretended I had a new client that was just within where we lived. And then I dressed up, carried my bag like I'm going to work. My mom was ready, my uncles were ready, my auntie was ready. Went to the cops. And I told the cops that I want to leave an abusive marriage. But my husband, the mom, would not let me. And they would not let me live with my child. The lady I was talking to asked me, how old was your child? I told them my child was 5 months. They were like, in shock. They're like, what would he be doing with a 5-month-old? I'm like, I also don't know. And that was that. I was told to come back on Tuesday. But that Tuesday, they were going somewhere. All of them, the whole cop station, they were going to another neighboring county for something. So I wouldn't find someone, especially in the children's services, who are going to help me. So I was told to come back on Wednesday. I couldn't go back home because now the cop has now called Bumpy and told them what's now happening. So Bumpy is at home with my daughter and my nanny, alone. I am afraid. I don't know what he'll do to my daughter. I don't know what he'll do to the nanny. The nanny called me and told me she's about to leave and I'm not yet home. And I told her to pass by my mom's because she knew where my mom lived. She'd seen me being beaten. She knew exactly what was going on. So I told her, you just continue going until the day I will come with cops to take my daughter's things, my things, and we go. So I had told her to ensure that all my daughter's things are always clean and like kept visually, just in case anything happens, it's just going. She's like, sure. And now she'd update me. She'd get home and then she'd tell me, my baby is fine. Of course, she's fussy because she's not breastfed. Me on my end, my boobs are solid raw because I'm still breastfeeding. I left with nothing, not a pump, not anything. So they are like hard. And I was constantly crying because I'm worried for my daughter. I'm also worried for my own self because I don't know what he's going to do at this point. So we are summoned. We are there Wednesday morning. We go and our parents are outside and we have to enter a specific room and we are talking. And for some reason, the gentleman who was listening to our case just said, nyinyi, watu wawili kwa blanketi mkishikana, yenyu ni mapenzi tu mtarudiana. Like that man just said, you two have been together. People who sleep on the same bed, you never know anything about them. You're just young and you just seem like you're in love. So this is just a rough patch, you get back together.
This is a cop.
Yes. And I just told the cop, that's okay. Until that day, that's fine. For now, we are here. This is what I want. So he's trying to listen to our stories because that's how it goes. He speaks, I speak. He speaks, I speak. And all through, I can just hear him saying, oh, it's because I don't want to listen. I'm refusing to be submissive. I don't want to be peaceful. It's because of my insecurities. But overall, I'm just in love with him. And this is just a rough patch. That's what he says, not bumpy. And I agree. And I'm like, you know what? It's okay. So I asked him, all those times you hit me, it's because you loved me, right? All those times you left our home with knowing that you're supposed to be somewhere, trying to get a job, doing something, but instead you're in a woman's house. That was also because you loved me. I asked him, all those times you were talking ill about me to another woman to gain their favor, I'm guessing that's also because you loved me. Every time you did not acknowledge that I had your child and acknowledge your child, it's also because you loved her way too much, right? So I just told the gentleman, the cop, our child is 5 months. I want to leave him and I want to live with my child. And I think for a moment he just saw how done I was because I was not arguing about anything. I was just like, it's okay.